You know, one of the things I really like about this channel is that it gives me the opportunity that while I'm working at home, I can wear nice clothes instead of just sitting around stewing in my pajamas. Take it in. G'day, cobbers! You've chucked us a Yui and come right back. It's getting worse and worse, actually. So today we're gonna have a little chat about Aussie linguistics and slang. I found it to be rather interesting because as an Australian, it's fun to see what doesn't make sense to some people. It's like, it seems perfectly natural to us, but to everyone else, it's just like, what? Excuse me? But before we get started on our topic, we have a paper of the day. This one's one of my favorites. Yes! Oh, isn't she so pretty? Wow. Got beautiful gold artwork, and underneath you've got flowers. I find purple and gold to actually be like a really nice combination. I'm a fan. Yeah. Also because the gold on here is in the shapes of like bands, so that was a triple joke to some effect. This is our paper. Really exciting. I love the pattern of cherry blossoms. I think they're like really cute. This is one of my favorite shapes, designs ever. And it's got like this fan waves all the way through. So that fan joke was funny. Look at that. That little flip there. Girl, she is winning. Alrighty, so let's have a crack at it. That means, in Australian slang, have a go, give it a go, have a shot. To speak like the stereotypical Australian, I have found that it's very important to not breathe. If you hold your breath in your nose and you talk out and sound just a little bit nasally, and you don't pronounce your A's like long, you don't go ah, you go A, and that's what gets you into the Aussie accent. Except that sounded a bit Kiwi. So to sound like your stereotypical Australian, don't breathe through your nose, and also swear every second word. You would have no idea how many people swear here, especially like the words that are really, really bad. The fights that I've seen between students and teachers at my high school, oh boy. If there were censors in Australia that bleeped out all of the swear words when people say them, all you'd hear in Australia is just one massive bleep. That's all we are, a bleep. But yeah, once you've got the accent down, because it really doesn't take all that much, then you can start confidently using the following Australian slang. Mate is obviously good friend. And you've got like, everyone goes, mate, throw another shrimp on the barbie. First of all, we don't do shrimp. It's prawns. Second of all, the word is snag for sausage. We throw a snag on the barbie. That's how you do it. None of that seafood garbage. There's this hardware store called Bunnings here in Australia, and every time you go, I'm pretty sure every time I've gone, there's a sausage sizzle outside. A sausage sizzle is when people are trying to raise money for something, like a scouts troop or whatever, and they would have like a small flat grill outside, so a barbecue or a barbie. They'd have sausages and white bread on the side, and they'd also fry up some onions as well, all on the flat plate. And there were like sauces out, and you could get a can of drink at the same time, and like, it's a good combo deal that you can get for drinks. I still remember the high school special that we had, because we had kids in VCAL try to raise some money for VCAL. If you have enough 2 pieces of bread, put in a sanger sandwich. You're learning. I just realized that the washing machine has been on, and I didn't even register it. I just kept going. So thanks, Sam. So yeah, we shorten words and names as well. So you don't have Dave, you don't have David, you have Stava. You don't have Daniel, it's Danny. You don't have Harrison, it's Hazza. Like Matthew, it's not Matthew, it's Maddie. Bunch of nonsense. When I was talking to my roommate earlier, he used one of my favorite Aussie slang terms, which is to chuck a wobbly. To chuck a wobbly means to chuck a fit. Like you are having a fit, a full-on meltdown. Chuck a wobbly is something, it's a term that you typically use for children. And I don't know why it's a wobbly specifically. You can't throw wobblies. Chuck is also a word that I use, like chuck it here means throw it here. Chuck up or chunder is to throw up. And of course, chuck a wobbly, which is to have a tantrum. And speaking of kids, there are different words for kids as well. If you have toddlers, they are not toddlers, they are ankle biters. There's also a term if you have children swimming in the beach. It's called shark biscuits. And I've never actually heard of that one before, but when I looked it up, apparently it's one of the most popular ones, so maybe it's in a different state. By the way, different states have different slang in Australia. If you know, like, theory of linguistics, when you have different cities, when Australia was founded by the settlers, they settled in different cities. So you've got your Melbourne, you've got your Sydney, you've got your different ones. So each state typically has a different accent. And as well, they will develop different slang. We have this thing called potato cakes. And what we call potato cakes, I believe Adelaide calls scallops, as in like scallop potato. But our version of scallop potato is also different. So we have potato cakes and scallop potato, but they have scallop potato, and I don't know what they think scallop potato is, like potato bake or something like that. It's a whole thing. Oh, there's actually a story behind this one. The word goon. In other languages, goon could mean like criminal, could mean thief, like, oh, one of his goons, you know, like for like a supervillain or something. But when I think goon, I think of boxed wine, because that in Australia is what goon is, boxed wine. And there's a game that us young people, not me, but my generation plays, called the Goon of Fortune. What you do is you hang a goon, a box of goon, or a bag of goon off a heels hoist, which is a clothesline, a heels hoist, and you have it going and you spin it. Goon is a very popular drink among young people because it's cheap and it's easy. And a word that rhymes with goon is hoon. Now, if you don't know what a hoon is, even my mum, who is not an Australian by birth, she got citizenship maybe when she was like in her 20s, and she uses this word, hoon. Hoon is a hooligan, typically used around people who like driving silly, you know, like, oh, look at them, they're such a hoon for cutting off traffic like that, doing donuts in a car park, that kind of stuff. They're hoons. There's so many dumb words, honestly. Like, I remember yesterday I told you about being a galah. Means to be stupid. That's the same for the word drongo. Drongo also means silly, stupid. You're a drongo. You're a dumb person. Another phrase, including a bird, is called, and I don't like this one, a budgie smuggler. A budgie smuggler is what everyone else would call a speedo for men. I just don't like the idea of people shoving budgies in their smugglers, and I'm just, leave the poor birds alone. They don't need this. Oh, I introduced last video as Bruce's and Sheila's. Bruce and Sheila are Australian terms for men and women, like ladies and gentlemen, Bruce's and Sheila's. And cobber is like friend, good friend. G'day, cobber. G'day, short for good day. Another one of my favorites is when we try to refer to a place that's far away, or in rural Australia, in the outback. We don't say, oh yeah, it's a while out, or it's like 50 kilometers east. We say, yeah, it's out in whoop whoop. Whoop whoop. I think I just enjoy silly words. Coming back to words that rhyme, we have the word chook, which is chicken. So if you get a chook from the charcoal chicken, yeah, that is a mouthful. So you get a chook, which is a chicken. Chook is chicken. And what rhymes with chook? Crook. Now in the standard English language, crook means to be a thief, a criminal. But in Australia, crook means to be sick. Like, mate, she's crook. Taking a day off. Chucking a sickie. See, that's another use for the word chuck. Nice. Let's do some of the rest. Try and do it quickly. Okay, so for something to be cactus is for something to have died. Like, mate, my phone's cactus. It is dead. Swag. Swag has a different meaning in Australia. Or the older generations at least. A swag is like a backpack, a sleeping bag on a backpack. So roll out your swag and sleep on it, instead of the yo swag of today's generations. You've got taka, which is food. Taka just means food. And mate, for you to be stuffed doesn't mean you're full after a meal. To be stuffed is to be tired as heck. For you to be absolutely wrapped is for you to be overjoyed. Oh, you finished that task on time? I am wrapped. It's like R-A-P-T. Wrapped. Nice English. We have a word pash, which might sound like it's something to do with passion fruit, but it is not. It is to kiss. Like French kiss. What we call pants, I don't think makes sense. It's not like the most common word, but if you say the word, people are generally gonna understand it. It is dax. D-A-K-S. Dax. Like, mate, get on your dax, let's go. Get on your pants. Tracky dax. That one in particular is what the word is known for. Dax. Tracky dax. For track pants. Like sweatpants. And if you don't like that, you are a dag. A dag is a lame person. Mate, you dag. One of the most commonly used Australian slang words, I think, in my opinion, dunny, because that is the one that weirds people out the most. A dunny is an outhouse, typically full of spiders. This one is getting worse and worse. Oh, I feel bad. You see my cup of tea here. This is a cockatoo, by the way, a sulfur-crested cockatoo. Very pretty. I boiled the water for this cup of tea in a billy. A billy is a kettle. There's a famous song called Waltzing Matilda where they mention the swag man waits until his billy boils. He also drowns in a lake after stealing a sheep and running away from the police. So, Australian icon. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. I actually quite like that song. I used to sing it with my pa on Australia Day. For something to be chock-a-block, it's for something to be full. Like, mate, can't put any more in there, she's chock-a-block. So, we talked about chook, now let's talk about clucky. For you to be clucky means for you to be brooding, like very wanting a baby, very motherly, like, oh, she's playing with the neighbour's kids again, she's looking rather clucky, gonna be asking you for an ankle biter soon. And to that you might respond, dead set? Or, yeah mate, dead set. As, yes, certainly, of course. Dead set, of course. Also, bludger. A bludger is someone that doesn't do anything. So you know that one person in your group assignment that does nothing and they bludge their way through the whole subject? Yeah, that's a bludger. There's a term in Australia called a dole bludger, which is people who don't get a job so that they can live off government payouts. As, you know, the dole. They are dole bludgers. Like, I'm not one to judge their situation, so I'm not going to say anything more. It's just what a lot of people in Australia say, dole bludgers. You know what? I think that's probably enough for today. That's been a lot of words coming at ya. So study hard. We have a quiz next week. I know someone who came to Australia when they were 15 years old, and they would have had no idea on what any of those words meant. Now, while they have learned a few Australian slang words, there's a lot that they still don't know. And I kind of want to quiz them on it. So I'll do up like a test for them, and then they can respond and record, and I'll give it a grade. Because I'm evil. You beauty! Oh, that's another thing. Sorry, just because you beauty is something that's often said at AFL, which we call footy, is this thing where if someone catches the football by jumping off another player's back, that is called a specky. Because it's a spectacle to behold. Real athletes, those people. So here we go, number 6. We're looking like a really cute family. See, I see the gradient coming along. This is my dream. If I don't upload soon, try not to chuck a wobbly. I've got a good cobber moving into the house tomorrow, so our schedule is pretty chock-a-block. Might order a chook for dinner if we're not cactus. As long as we get some tucker, we won't be too stuffed. Hopefully there aren't any bludgers in our group that aren't gonna help out. That would be so daggy. I'd be super wrapped if everyone helped. You know, I think I'm done. I don't know the Australian slang for bye that isn't cursing. So, until next time,
Don't be a stranger.
goodbye.